My name is Andre Early,
host of Right Now Leaders, and we are on location
at the National Society of Black Engineers Region 1 Conference,
where I will be sitting down with over 20 extraordinary Right Now leaders in the field of engineering.
That's what I want to do.
So be prepared to be motivated.
And we're talking about what AI means for us.
By soon-to-be early career hires that are not only making an impact, but are blazing the trail for tomorrow, right now.
I'm currently a third-year computer engineering student at Northeastern University.
Northeastern?
Yes.
Oh, How has your experience been thus far?
I would say I'm also a first-generation low-income student. So I'm also from Las Vegas, Nevada. So I moved across the country for university.
Okay.
I was so lucky to get a full ride scholarship through the Torch program at Northeastern. Getting the opportunity to not only move across the country, but also study engineering and being a first generation student, it was definitely difficult in the beginning. It was definitely challenging, being able to kind of adjust to university without my family. But I think in the last year and a half, 2 years, I've definitely settled my roots in Boston, and also found a community within NSBE. I definitely found a lot of strength within my peers, being able to navigate courses and clubs and career events and career fairs and convention. I've been very, very, very lucky and very blessed to have such a great community that I've been able to assimilate with.
Okay.
So I would say that for the most part, a good experience and a very much a impactful experience to see me grow from just a freshman from Vegas to this young woman into the professional field.
Okay.
So yeah, that's definitely.
Okay. You're in the STEM field, the
Yeah.
wonderful world of STEM.
Yeah.
The theme of the conference is advancing STEM.
Yeah.
How, why, what are we doing?
It's a great question. Well, the reason that I joined engineering was definitely because I am a very curious individual. I mean, I think a lot of us here would say that they played Legos as a kid, or build little toolkits and gadgets. I remember as a kid, I always thought I wanted to be an inventor. I wanted to build something. I wanted to make something. Not necessarily a business venture. I didn't necessarily care about profit or making money. I was I want to build something that everyone can use, And so when I was a kid, I would Google just random problems, just really simple things, so that I can try to help someone, try to help build something. So I remember sketching in my notebook, but I didn't think that engineering and inventor was pretty much in the same ball field. Engineering is a lot about problem solving, figuring out what people need, making sure that we have our stakeholders, making sure that we're able to kind of keep everyone happy, but also get the job done, being efficient, cost efficient. And that's where I feel engineering and university definitely solidifies that understanding. And going into the conversation of advancing STEM, we have AI now. We have AI, and there are a lot of benefits to AI. There is wonderful aspects to AI, being able to use it and be efficient and being increasing productivity. But at the same time, there are some challenges with it. There's the environmental conversation where it is disproportionately affecting Black and brown people. So as Black engineers, and we're at this conference, we have amazing workshops that talk about AI and LLMs. And we're talking about what AI means for us, especially if there's a lot of us that are in CS. What does it mean for the job market for the more tech-focused people? So I think this conversation talks about not only STEM as a whole, but it also talks about the policy, it talks about the conversations around these ideas that are outside of just technical, but more, focused with our environment,
Your goal, your overall goal, is it to, secure a role with a leading company in comp sci, technology, engineering, or have you ever thought about maybe an entrepreneurial track? And I'll tell you why.
Okay. That's a great question. I don't think I ever really thought about an entrepreneurial track. I don't think it really interests me so much, but I definitely would say that my goal in the short term as a young professional is trying to find job security. I think with everything that's going on right now, being able to kind of find a job that I can keep and that I can kind of build with. And then from there, I think it's all about building wealth, like coming from a first generation standpoint, I want to build a sense of stability, a sense of structure, being able to have some funds, something so that I can do whatever I want,
So, and that's a perfect segue, because
Yeah.
we're talking about, we talked about generational wealth. Now we want to create this wealth. How does one create wealth? Do we create wealth by working for someone else, making them more money, or do we go another route that is a little bit more on an entrepreneurial track, where we're creating our own, and it belongs to us, therefore we could license it out, we can just build the wealth that way.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I asked that question, and why it's important for us to understand that there are other ways of supporting ourselves, being independent, but being able to make the funds that we that we strive for, and maybe making sure that it comes back to our communities.
Right.
Thoughts?
I agree. I agree that you said it very well. I think that being able to circulate the wealth amongst ourselves and be able to support our communities is very important. And I think a conversation that's in the same category, but some people wouldn't really necessarily see that same connection, is that a lot of people in my courses, in my classes, I sometimes feel like I'm behind, and at first it was the imposter syndrome, first thinking that I didn't belong there, first thinking that I didn't deserve it. But then after a while, I was like, okay, I know I'm here. I know I belong here. But now it's, being able to kind of attack in my courses, attack in what I'm learning. But I think something that I understood but didn't really understand was that so many of my peers have parents and grandparents that are engineers or doctors, or they know someone, or they can afford to give them tutoring. And that's where I feel like there's that deeper gap of, yeah, I'm first generation. Yes, I'm first generation low income, but there's that gap about trying to help students, especially at NSBE. We talk about PCI and we talk about pre-collegiate and NSBE junior, but making sure that we attain, we address a lot of these issues that affect our communities that are outside of engineering, but people need basic needs, being able to have housing and food and access to good education. And I believe when it comes to having those as a foundation and then building on top of that will help students be more likely to go into STEM. Because I feel like a lot of the stories that I hear from students that are PCI, at least in Boston, like they would have to take buses to go to a school to get an education in STEM.
Right.
And it's like, why do we have to have so many different routes and so many burdens for young Black students to be in STEM? And so, at least right now, I understand trying to connect that gap with young professionals and in collegiate students to get into STEM and have these career opportunities. But I agree, like there also is that sense of giving back, and that's why I love PCI. That's why I love Torch. I love the idea of, in our mission statement, it literally says to positively impact the community, and being able to kind of close that gap of like, yes, we want all the Arduino kits and all the Vex robots, but we also want to make sure that they have a good place to sleep, having sure they have food, because it's hard for someone to go into STEM if they don't have a consistent, stable lifestyle, And so I think then when they understand, it's like a whole thing about, their lifestyle and like having that structure when they come into college, then it's like, okay, now I have this foundation. What about for me? What if I can build my own business and being able to kind of have that entrepreneurial track? And I feel like that is another level, because I feel like a lot of people, especially the business students in my university, it's like their father is a consultant, or their mother is a consultant, or their families, they know people, so it's already built for them. So I really like what you're doing, and I think it's really cool that being able to kind of build your network and knowing that you can do it yourself, I think is very inspirational.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We are trying our best to make an impact. We do realize that there is a need, and even in these trying times, with everything that is going on outside of our control, we honestly believe this is the perfect time for us to come together so we can uplift as one.
Right.
And that's what we're not trying. That's what we're going to do.
Exactly.
So thank you for your time today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Congratulations. I see a bright future.
Thank you.
Now, I've seen so much this weekend.
Yeah.
It's just been, I'm like, okay, now we have to go back and say, okay, then we need to address this and this, and then we have to, have a nice little pitch so we can show up at the annual conference in March, so we can actually really come up with a great game plan to say, you know what, this is what we need to do to move forward as a people.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Blazing the trail for tomorrow, right now.